so much respect for him personally and as a coach and their program and how tough they are. And they got the kind of program that and the culture that in some ways we're trying to build, and there's a lot of mutual respect between the two programs. And they outplayed us for the majority of the game. And we've talked a lot in recent weeks about trying to finding a way to win different kinds of games. Close games, games when your back is against the wall. And tonight was one of those opportunities where nothing was working. And we found a way, made a nice run towards the end and closed out a game that didn't feel like it could go our way. And there were some moments in the game that really, I was really proud of the guys. And just some great stuff happened in the game, after the game, that speak to the connectivity that exists inside of our team, and some real growth with some of the individuals throughout the game that I was impressed with. It was a great, hard-fought win against a really, really good team.
There was a stretch late where your guys went, 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes without allowing a single point. What led to the effectiveness of that stretch for your defense?
We just got more locked in. They do put you in a bind. They've got really good personnel. Edwards is tough. Bugs, you can't give him any space, And then what Scott does, and then what they were doing, but with both of their bigs, it was pick your poison. And they do a good job of moving the pieces around and putting you in a bind. And so it requires, like we've talked about in the past, multiple efforts and active hands, and then just a will to play with a level of will. And I think we asserted more will during that stretch.
I know last year was a different team with different guys, but in the year plus, how big is a win like this to maybe break through that latest kind of brick wall that had been there for this group?
Well, I thought that happened to some extent in the Tulane and UAB games with this team. And it has nothing to do with last year's team, but I think the only way I would relate it to last year's team is the returnees have last year's experience under their belt, so that Emory could go in a game and make 3 critical free throws, having had the playing time and experience that he got last year. Or Jaheim's contribution obviously stood out. The rebounding that Sam did during the game, especially late in the game, had some tremendous rebounds. He didn't score well, but he definitely affected the game. And Jalen is a returning from last year and knows that I believe in him, and he played that way tonight, and we really needed that from him. The contributions that we missed from Ricardo are a byproduct of the fact that he was with us last year, and now he gets what we're about and what we're trying to do, and he's all in. And so there was an absence there that we needed some other guys to step up, and those particular guys, if you had asked me, and if I was telling the truth, I would have said that Jaheim, Jalen, and Emory have to make a contribution to fill that void. We don't need anybody to step in and do what Ricardo does. He's got a unique skill set. But so I think that's the way it relates to last year, is just the experience.
It seemed like there were some parallels between this game and the game in the Super Pit. You guys had the 3 to look at it to win it there. Tonight you had that 3 go down. When that went down, did you feel like the momentum just kind of swung your guys' way?
Well, I thought we had a chance at that point because there was some time left, and college basketball, crazy things happen, and so. But when we first took the lead, it was big, and then when we went up 3, we actually got up 6, and we got a little cute with a little pass instead of like working the game a little bit, and then true to form, Edwards bangs a 3 on the other end, and now it's a 1-possession game again. So. But I certainly felt like we had we had a chance to win the game. But these games are hard to close out against good teams.
Was there a discussion about fouling that last possession? at all?
Very short discussion, because with 16 seconds left, I've been on both sides of that coin, and if you haven't practiced it, I've been in that situation, and intentional foul ends up getting called, and we wind up losing the game. I've been on the other side of it, where there's 9 seconds left, and they don't foul, and we hit a 3, and we wind up winning the game by double digits. I think you have to practice fouling, and with 16 seconds on the clock, if you foul in the backcourt and put them on the line, there's still 12 seconds left. There's just too many things that can happen. You go down, you miss a free throw, and now it's a one-possession game. And then if you wait till they get into the front court, now you foul a guy and he's in the act of shooting because you haven't practiced it. And we have not practiced that situation enough. We pride ourselves in being able to get a stop. We needed to get a stop. Unfortunately, the kid missed the shot at the end.
Aaron Scott was talking about the physical way that the guys in your front court played in the last few minutes. He used the word bullied. Would you agree with that assessment of the energy and intensity you got from your bigs?
Well, I certainly think we responded, but I think that speaks to their program. Like, they didn't get the job done, and that's going to be the narrative in their locker room, and they're going to use that for fuel for their next game. I do think that Jaheim drew a line in the sand, and there was a point in the game where he said, "Put me at the 5, and I bet you they won't do that to me." So I did it, and he didn't let himself get back down by those bigs because they were having their way in the first half. And so, but bully, I wouldn't go that far. I got too much respect for those guys to say we bullied them, no.
You talk a little bit about North Texas and SMU here in this series. What are your feelings about potentially continuing this in non-conference play down the line after you guys jumped at the ACC?
My feelings are that we will not. I'm just joking. I mean, I got respect for them. We have to be selective. I don't want to get too far into talking about, the future, but we'd be going into a league that only plays 11 non-conference games instead of 13 because they play 20 games in that league. We only play 18. So you don't have as much flexibility. So you have to be more selective about how you schedule in the non-conference. So I'm not going to be jumping at the opportunity to play these guys, respectfully.
How big, this win, I think we talked about it probably after both the Tulane and UAB games, but just learning to win these types of games as you now go on this kind of 4 or 5 game stretch run, going to play some really good teams that are high in the conference standings and then hosting some really good teams that are high in the conference standings, for just building on what this team has done the last 4 games.
Yeah, what I put on the board before the game was I put the date January 25th. That was the date that we played them, if I'm not mistaken. And my question to the players is, have we improved since then? And if we have, then tonight is an opportunity to show that we've gotten better. And that has to be the theme as you go. You get down to this time of year and you have to continue to try to find ways to get better. And we've got plenty of areas where we can improve in it. So it just has to be about that, us getting better ourselves, and then studying what we can learn from this game, and then studying what happened in the Tulane game so that we can do a better job when we face them again and so forth.
I guess that was kind of my other thing. This was the first time you had played a team a second time.
Yeah.
What is it like going into that second game, and then with Tulane and Memphis coming up next, that will be the second time? Do you take anything from this one of this is what we did a second time against a team, or are they individual?
Yeah, I think it's individual, but I do think what happens though is with a team like North Texas is great because you don't have to manufacture ways to put your team on edge because they know what they're up against. So when you're playing a tough physical team like them that is so sound defensively, you have to try to give them a roadmap, but you don't have to convince them to tighten up and you got to come to play. Like all of that stuff goes out the window. You know what you're up against. Now it's a matter of what is it going to take strategically, and because everything else is obvious. And I think the same can be said for Tulane and everybody else we play the rest of the way.